Hi everyone, I wanted to talk to you about showing and telling, which is directly linked to sensory imagery, which you're studying this week. I'm sure you've heard the phrase in writing that you should show and not tell. However, it's important that we look at the functions of showing and telling to determine how these should be used in our writing. So let's look at this handout real quick and look at the definitions, the difference between showing and telling. So it says telling is abstract, passive, and less involving of the reader. It takes away action and pulls readers out of the story. Showing is active and concrete, creating mental images that bring your story and characters to life. It's interactive and encourages readers to participate in the reading experience. So in that definition for telling, it sounds kind of negative, right? It takes away action and pulls readers out of the story, whereas showing is pulling readers into the story and kind of letting them live in the moment that you're describing. However, it doesn't mean that telling is bad. Showing and telling serve specific purposes in your writing. So one of those things is that showing, besides drawing readers in, slows down the scene. It really describes each moment. It pulls readers in. It lets them, by using sensory imagery, it lets them see what's going on, hear, taste, smell, touch. All of those types of sensory imagery can be used when you show to pull the reader in. Whereas telling speeds the action up. It clips along. It might give a lot of information about a subject without showing a lot of vivid details. And that also serves a purpose in writing. If you were to only show every scene of your story, it would make the action so slow that you might lose readers. So therefore, there really needs to be a nice balance between showing and telling. And that means you're going to have to choose which scenes you want to show and which parts that you think you need to tell about to move along to the next scene where you're going to show. So let's just look at a couple of examples real quick about where this might work and where it might not. So if you look at this example here, the telling part isn't very vivid or exciting. It says the little girl looked so tired she clearly needed a nap. Now we'll show that instead. It says the little girl's sleepy brown eyes hardened into red-rimmed slits. She cocked her plastic Viking helmet aggressively, the horns sticking out only a little more than her curls. One fist clutched a decapitated lollipop, the other a cardboard sword. She leveled the point at my chest. "You mean, dragon," she growled, "you'll never make me nap." So in this one, we are carving out a scene. We're showing readers what this little girl looks like, and we're drawing them into the action. It's much more exciting than this first telling sentence. However, if we go over here, and it says sometimes telling is good, it says that telling is for covering ground when you need to. It's supplying information, so it is a little more removed from the immediate experience of the moment, but it's still a valuable tool. So here's an example of telling. Our coach is a former champion wrestler, but now he is overpaid, overweight, and over 40. So here the writer is getting some details across. It's written in kind of a funny fashion, and it's not necessarily a part that maybe the writer needs to show. He's just wanting to get the information across, giving some details, and then might jump into a scene later. So I'd like you to always think about that when you're writing. When you're using sensory imagery, you're going to be showing the readers what's going on. You're going to be slowing down the scene. You're going to be trying to draw readers into the scene through the use of sensory imagery. But when you're telling, you're going to be using that to give readers some details to move the story along to the next scene where you plan to show. So I hope this it educates you about the balance between these two elements of writing, and I look forward to seeing how you employ it in your own.